Hello and welcome to All For United with me, John Foster, MUFC, match reaction show, Arsenal 2, Manchester United Women's 0. Joining me today are two United supporters and an Arsenal supporter. So we've got rid of Matt today, brought in a different version. Hello Marissa, nice of you to join us.
Hello.
Thank you.
Nice to be here.
Thank you. For yourself, yes, not necessarily for us. Natalie, Ben, how are you both? You okay?
Yeah, John.
Still getting over disappointment. Sorry, Nat.
That's it. No, I'm feeling the same.
Disappointment, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Look, we've got so much to delve into, not just the actual results, but the future now. What are the consequences of this defeat? Also, what Casey said after the game. Is that going to land her in some hot water? Our next match is at Old Trafford. We want to talk a little bit about that. So many mistakes, whether it be from players, managers, things went wrong, didn't they? And we've got to address it. You know, when things go well, we should probably shout louder than anyone. But obviously, when things don't go well, you know, we have to be a little bit honest at times. So we've got a lot to talk about. We'll talk about the starting 11 as well. What went right there, and also our Champions League fate now lies in Arsenal's hands. Nat, look, we knew it was going to be difficult. But do you think that the scoreline kind of flattered them 2-0, or was it worthy of that 2-0 win, or what are your thoughts?
Obviously, when they went ahead early, you just thought that's our game plan sort of out the window. But we did settle into it, and there was chances, and I just had that feeling like, are we going to live to regret them? You know, we're going in 1-0 down at half time. We need to come out even, you know, we've been playing well. I thought we need to come out with a bit of confidence here. And we just didn't. And then early in the second half, 2-0, and I just knew that's it. I just knew that was the wind out of the sails. And she sort of touched on it, Casey, didn't she, in one of the post-match? You know, we're conceding a lot from set pieces. And I think that Arsenal he was saying, Joe Montemurro, we know how to we figured out their press. We know what we're doing. We've done this new tactic. And I thought, you know, obviously, yeah, he's going to say that. But I thought, no, there's some element in this. You know, what have we done? Have we sorted out, you know, our issues that we've had, you know, Reading, City? I thought, you know, are we going to be okay if we concede? Because I knew we'd concede. But usually we go up, don't we? And then we concede and then we can come back. Or, you know, we'll concede and we'll go 1-1. And I just thought if it goes behind, you know, badly, is there anything in them? Like they did against City the first half. We haven't seen a second half like that for a while. You know, the way they came back 2-2. So I thought, are we ready for it? And, you know, I know we're going to go into all the minute details, hear it from the Arsenal perspective as well, but it was disappointing. But at the same time, I sort of, you know, I was watching it thinking, well, this is what I've been watching us, you know, from this year. This is what we've been sort of like in a way.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, look, we all knew it was going to be difficult. I said to you that before we actually went live. You know, it reminded me a little bit about when we went into the Man City game, the second game, where we was kind of on the way down and City was on the way up. Arsenal recently, you know, they were on the way up. They was building a bit of form, and we kind of like stabilised a little bit. And we didn't really have much momentum. Marissa, it'll be interested to hear. I mean, what were your thoughts? What was your expectations going into the game? Was you expecting a win at home, or was you expecting it to be a bit more difficult? What were your thoughts actually going into the game?
I was hoping for a win. Of course, you always want your team to win. I felt, you know, we have a good chance if we start well, score a goal early, which we did. So then you know you can relax a bit into it. As Nat says, obviously, then that blows the opposition's game plan out the window, and you're on the back foot quite early on. So I was pretty pleased with that. You know, we play Man United. It's always a tough game. It's always usually a tight game. So I think the last few games we played, it's been a goal in it here or there. So okay, it was 2 goals, but it was still, I still wasn't fully confident until the final whistle blew, really, because there were chances. Arsenal were a bit wasteful here and there, giving away sloppy fouls and that sort of thing. So if Man United were more clinical and they could have taken their chances, I think press was through once and you thought, okay, straight at the keeper, even if you get a corner or, give something to sort of seem like you were getting back into it. And I know United have had a bit of issues from set pieces. Like when Reading beat you guys, it was 2 goals from set pieces. So, when you see Wubben-Moy rise and head it in, you think, yep, great. But even so, I thought Man United had chances. They just needed to be more clinical. And then it could have been a different game because obviously with Arsenal getting Beth Mead sent off, then you had half an hour to try and, come on, let's get something going. And it still didn't quite seem to happen for you guys.
At any point, Marissa, did you feel like, especially when you was 1-0 up and not 2-0 up, did you feel like at one point that we could actually get back into it? Because for myself, I think that first half, the midfield battle, I think that Arsenal won that in the centre of the midfield, but we were looking quite strong on the left wing and we were looking quite dangerous at times, I thought, when LJ got on the ball, and we'll talk a bit more about LJ later on. But I think there was sparks in that first half where I thought, oh, we look a bit dangerous here. But did you ever think that maybe?
I think there were a few chances. Definitely that press chance, but Lauren James just getting in and around the area. You think one stray foot maybe bring her down in the wrong area. You get a penalty, a free kick, make something happen. So yeah, definitely. So I was nervous watching you because I'm thinking, okay, one wrong move, and I know you've got good players. So I definitely thought there was a chance for you guys. Even at 2-0, I still thought if they get one, you never know. So. You did have chances and show a threat. It just wasn't enough to make it count in the end.
I think that's fair enough, and I can't really argue with that. Ben, look, there was some comments in the comment section at the moment saying that the early goals really cost us, and I kind of agree with that. The early goal in the first half, the early goal in the second half. Obviously, we'll go into a bit more detail regarding those goals, throughout the show, but. Do you feel that way as well? The early goals kind of deflated us or just knocked us for 6, maybe?
I think so, mate. I think that's pretty much spot on what people are saying in the comments. I don't know what it is, mate. Defensively, we were sound up until the winter break. Come back off the winter break, we've fallen to pieces at the back. Is the pressure getting to us? That's my first question. Is the pressure getting to us? I've not seen us crumble at the back like this before. Especially in big games, we're crumbling at the back. It's defensive errors that are costing us. Go back to the City game. 2 or 3 of their goals, our own doing. Defensive errors. Reading, defensive errors.
Yeah.
Chelsea, defensive error. Let the ball bounce. Criminal. Yesterday, whichever way you want to look at it, defensive errors. It's are we crumbling under the pressure? It's the pressure of trying to maintain a top 3 spot, getting to some of the players, because some of it's very uncharacteristic mistakes. It's like the 2 Turners have been solid all season up until after the winter break, and it's come back and that defensive unit's crumbled a little bit. It seems to be the pressure's getting to some of our players. They don't seem as confident. I don't know, man. It's annoying a little bit, because. I know we could defend a lot better than what we have been doing, For a manager like Case Stoney that's prided herself on being a top-class defender, that must absolutely do her head in the goals that we are conceding at this moment in time. It's just so sloppy. It's all our own doing. Do you know what I mean? It's not as though we were undone by some great bit of skill and, somebody's scoring an absolute world into the top corner. A lot of it, 95% of it, has all been our own doing in these big games after the winter break, and it's a little bit annoying. As I know that we could defend a lot better than that. We could give ourselves a pat on the back, if you like, for the first half of the season. We've been fantastic, but since that winter break, mate, I don't know what it is. Whether that winter break's caused to switch off a little bit or cause a little bit of false sense of security, thinking, we're cruising here, we've not had too much trouble, we're all right. I think we're good enough to finish top 3. Has that settled in the players' minds? Are we sort of looking at it and going, yeah, top 3, we're comfortable. You know, Arsenal are a set amount of points behind us. But since the winter break, mate, since we've come back off that winter break, man, we've looked a shadow of the team. And yeah, you can blame injuries, you can blame refereeing decisions and stuff like that, but you can't blame other people for mistakes of our own doing, especially at the back, because it's just yeah.
I understand, Ben, and there's a lot of comments that's going up on screen, and I'll read a few of them out, and them touching subjects, because obviously we always want to defend our team, and as soon as someone says something negative, you want to say, yeah, but this. Someone's mentioned about Millie needs a rest. You know, is that an option? We haven't really seen too much of Maria just yet, so maybe, you know, is that something that needs to happen? Maybe. Hello, Marie, and Marie. I'm sure that name's changed. I'm sure it used to be Marie something. Yeah, so obviously there's a lot of people agreeing with you. Chelsea fan in the comments saying that your back four is being exposed. No Hayley Ladd. Well, we'll talk about Hayley Ladd not playing in a separate subject. But there's so many comments coming in, and it is disappointing. I think what I would say though is we was against one of the top 4 teams in the country, potentially top 3 teams in the country now, and where we have been exposed. You know, we have been exposed against, apart from Reading, we've lost to Chelsea, City, and Arsenal. So, me personally, I do try and think to myself, okay, well, we are against some very good teams. But we've said ourselves, it's our centre-backs that need bolstering, you know. So I can't argue with that. On the flip side to that, to play devil's advocate, you know, the first goal was a deflection. You know, she should have got in that.
It was a mistake of her own doing, mate.
Yeah.
You know, I love Martha Harris, but you can't give the ball away there, mate. That's just criminal. And we were too slow to close down again. It was a bit like, I think, was it City's 3rd goal, where we did have Maria. I'm sorry, I won't try to pronounce her name because I'll just butcher it. But she did an error he was taught not to do at school, turned your back on the ball instead of closing it down and allowed the player to chip it into the top corner. You know, it seems to be our own doing. It seems to be, I don't know whether it's the pressure's getting to us or something. And I think somebody said to me on Twitter, I do apologise, I can't remember who it was, but there was like trying to make out, is it the Abby McManus effect? Because when she was all right, she didn't play a lot of football in the first half of the season, but has bringing somebody else sort of, you know, maybe disturb that defensive unit a little bit. I don't think so. I think it's more to do with the pressure. I think the pressure's getting to them, where you've not been in that situation before, you know, and I just think that we're just. I don't know how to describe it. We look scared. We look the shadow of ourselves at the back, and it's just not doing the who's taking leadership as well. Somebody needs to be a leader on that field and take by the scruff of the neck. When we're not playing very well, try and G some of the players up around. You know, I didn't see too much of that. You know, their first goal went in. You can see a couple of the heads were started going down. A couple of heads were going down. I'm like, that's not what I want to see. I want someone in there barking at them, going, come on, keep your heads up. We'll go again. 1-0. We'll get this game back. You know, we had 80-odd minutes to get a game back, 85 minutes, whatever it was, to get the game back, you know. So, I don't know, mate. It's just a little bit of a confusing one for me.
It is. Go on, Natalie. I can see him died to jump in.
Yeah, I agree with everything Ben's just said. I agree with it. It's since we played Chelsea, and the first game back was supposed to be Everton, but it was postponed, and I don't think that helped us. I think we were all training up to play that game, and it was just called off last minute, so I don't think that helped. These aren't excuses that I'm saying now, but this is just what I think. And then, obviously, we played Chelsea, we went 1-0 down. Probably we expected it. Look at the City game, you know, Chelsea probably going to go and win the league. But then we fought back, and I saw that same little spark that I saw in all the girls when we came back and drew against City. So I think we thought we were on the ascendancy then in that game. And like what Ben says, criminal defensive error, something that we've not seen all season from them. They let that ball bounce, and the minute that Chelsea scored, and I think that's where the confidence gone from there. I mean, we didn't have Tobin anyway, and I've said it a lot about Tobin, about what she's done to this team, about how she's made all the girls sort of raise their levels, and not having her is a massive loss. Just like the way that not having Bruno would do, the way that we've not had Pogba, it's done it for the men's. But for me, I think they conceded that goal against Chelsea, and then since then we've just not looked like the same team. And then we were getting more injuries, and it's all this like spiraling kind of situation. Then we lost this game against Reading, then we lost against City. Now we've lost against Arsenal, and it's just, you know, even that first goal, I agree with Ben. It was heads down. There was no kind of thing. It was like, for fuck's sake, you know, we've effed our game plan up. But even then, there was chances. Like Marisha said, you know, we could have scored. We should have scored. LJ, but I think it's that thing. I think it's that pressure. And we've seen it when it has been big pressure moments in big games, semi-finals that we've got to. And there's chances that we could score. I mean, Chelsea in the semi-final against in the Conti Cup last year, you know, we could have got to a Conti Cup final, and there was a chance where LJ was 1-on-1, and LJ, you put money on it. I put my money on that girl. She was absolutely different class, and in that game, she was 1-on-1 with the keeper. Yes, the defender came in, but LJ doesn't. I've never seen LJ miss chances like that. Few times, but usually, bang, it's the back of the net. Tooney as well, straight away afterward, had that chance, went with a left foot. If she had gone with the right, bang, it's in the back of the net. You know, and I just think these are young girls, though. So I'm not saying, you know, LJ out, Tooney out. Of course I'm not. But like you said, they've never been in this situation, and there isn't that many leaders around. And there's not, you know, I can see someone saying about vocal. There was a chance, and I think this is the one you're on about, where it came through Jackie, and I thought, and I was watching it, I was thinking, this is how Leah scored versus Chelsea. And I don't know whether LJ should have shouted at press or press should have shouted at. One of them just goes, mine, bang, goal. But instead they get caught up, and that's what sort of cost them, because that was a goal. And that's 3 clear chances there, bang, that I've just said. Yeah. And people were telling me should have been 3-1 up. And I think we should have. But then at the same time, you can see why Arsenal ended up winning it, because they just, you know, went down to 10 men, everyone behind the ball, and it was simple. It was training ground in the end for them. You know, I knew once they scored that second, that's it, right? Yeah. Even I know people were telling me I'd switched off at 2-0, and people might think, oh, what kind of fun is that? But I could see it playing out. It was so predictable in a way after they scored that second goal. And, you know, I know we're going to go on to her comments, but for me, you can't be blaming the ref and this and that. The ref was bad for both. We know that women's refs are bad. We've had shows about it. You can't talk about refs being bad, and then you have a player sent off, and then you still can't score. And then there was that little one that Tooney had or Jess had, and it's offside, and it was offside. But, you know, when Jess came on, it looked like a bit of brightness, a bit of someone moving about. And I know we're going to talk about who played, who started, but Hansen as well. She came on versus City to change the game. Why are you not making these subs quicker or sooner? Or, you know, we saw it in the first half of the season. Birmingham 2-1 down. She took 3 players off at the second half. You know, like I said, Kirsty Hansen, game changer. That's what they're supposed to be, game changers. She did it versus Chelsea. Lauren James came on, scored the goal, game changers. That's what, you know, they have GC and the badge, but Jess looked like a bit of a game changer, but it wouldn't have been that one. And then Lad comes on for Jackie, and you're just thinking, what's going on?
I know.
At least played Lad at the start.
Well, that's going to be a conversation in itself. Look, there's so many good comments tonight. There really is. Thank you to everybody who's jumping in the comments, and please put a thumbs up, because there's so many of you watching. I want to get Marissa involved, obviously, because we've got her in the show. We're going to talk about the starting 11. LJ was one of the starters, and we'll talk about LJ's performance. But for myself, Marissa, what were your thoughts when you saw LJ started? I mean, have you seen much of her? Do you think she's as good as what the Man United fans think, or was you a little bit apprehensive when you saw LJ on the starting 11?
Yeah, I would say so, especially with Leah Walty being in as a centre-back. Obviously, we know she's a brilliant midfielder, but centre-back, it's not your natural position. You know, you put a foot wrong and you don't know what's going to happen. Wuben Moy, I'm quite confident in her. I think she's a great centre-back, but she's still young, so mistakes can happen. So I was thinking, oh gosh, you know, pace that LJ's got, skill, You know, like I remember, I think it was against Chelsea when you scored against Chelsea, and Casey Stone's like, pass it to LJ, and then ball's in the back of the net. So she knows what to do with the ball, you know. You can see it coming. If she's got that bit of space, she's got the skill. We know her ability. So you do think, oh, definitely one to keep an eye on. And she was full of energy, running, keeping the defence busy. So I think she definitely made a difference. But it's just, you know, one touch here or there that, you know, gets the goal. And we're talking about a completely different game. And as you said, it gives you a lot of confidence to come back into the game. But what Nat and Ben were saying about leaders, well, Zellum is the captain. Where else do you see leaders in the team? Who's vice captain? I'm not sure, but surely there's got to be some more experienced players in the side. Mary Earp, she's quite an experienced goalkeeper. So where are the leaders that you would say are in the team?
This is a great point, and the comments saying Jackie and you know, I'll happily name him. Kristen was on the show about 2 or 3 months ago when we signed Maria, and we know that Kristen's a massive Jackie Gronan fan. And a few people are starting to say now Jackie is captain and stuff. But what I would say is, first of all, that's a massive decision. That's going to be a mental blow for someone if you take the captaincy off someone. So that's a massive step, by the way. If you can't just suddenly say, oh, you're not captain anymore, because you're basically saying that you're doing a crap job. Excuse my language. But also, Jackie can still be a captain the same way as Bruno is a captain on the men's team. You know, Maguire's got the armband, but we all know that Bruno is a fantastic leader. So, yeah, maybe Jackie can be a captain, and maybe, you know, but she can still bark orders if she wants to be the captain, or if she can be the captain. If you're saying that she's got the qualities, that's fine. She don't need to wear the armband. If Jackie says something, then she can be the captain. Marissa, you are right. I think we are lacking leaders. I think we are experienced people, as you know, as we've mentioned already. We are lacking that experience, especially at the back. We are quite fragile. Tobin, we know, is a natural leader when she's playing, but apart from that, we haven't got the experience of maybe Arsenal, Chelsea, and City at this level, and I think it's showing. There's been comments saying, "Are we not bottling it?" Because I think that's a little bit too extreme, but it's playing in the heads, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. So we talk about LJ. We're going to start 11. At one point, I thought maybe Jess was going to get the start, get the nudge ahead of LJ, which wouldn't have bothered me. Press out wide and Jess up front. Instead, we went for LJ out wide and press up front. And to be honest, I was a little bit surprised by it, but I was happy with it because I actually thought that Jess played quite well and she caused you a few problems. Whether it be down the wing or cutting in, I think she's quite strong on the ball, and she was actually making things happen. I know she missed that chance on the edge of the box where she should have at least tested the goalkeeper. But if we was going to score in that first half, it was going to be because of LJ. Ben, what were your thoughts on the LJ performance in that first half? The second half, she was quite non-existent, I think, but the first half, I thought she'd done quite well.
Yeah, I think she. Listen, mate, we know how Lauren James is our most talented player. You know, she's the best player that we have, really, for out-and-out talent, man. You know, the amount of times we bigged her up on the show is unreal. And she deservedly so. I thought she did very well first half. You know, you could tell that she was a little bit rusty because nine times out of 10, that ball's going in the back of the net. That ball's hitting the onion bag. Yeah. And unfortunately, she let back a little bit and it went over the bar. But in terms of what you said, second half, she faded out. Fitness in it. She's been injured most of the season, you know, and it's that match rhythm, that lack of match rhythm, match fitness. But I was surprised that we took her off when we did, though. I'd have left her on for another 10 minutes. I'd have hooked a couple of other players, mate, in truth. But, you know, just try and maybe change the game a little bit, you know. Some of the things that we did, though, man, it just baffled me, mate. I would have made a change at half time. I'd have got Sigsworth on at half time. Bang, made it straight away. I'd have an answer on at some point as well, especially last 15-20, you're chasing the game. You know, you need these game changers. That's what, as Natalie said, that's what they're called. Where they have that GC on their training tops and whatever, on the jackets and on that. Or is maybe some of our game changers carrying knocks? Is that why Casey was probably not looking to the bench as much as she possibly might have done? You know, are we walking wounded, basically, and we're having to do what we've, do what we got. Because it is a bit baffling. Yeah, scratch your head going, why don't we make changes sooner? But it just seems a bit, I don't know. But then again, I said this when we first was in the Championship. We went to Boreham Wood to play in the Conti Cup semi against Arsenal. Look at the programme. You look at Arsenal's strength in depth and how much and the massive list they've got as a squad compared to what we had in the Championship. I said that's what United need. To compete at that level, at the WSL level, you need a squad yay big. And I still think we're vastly undernumbered, in terms of quality, in terms of squad depth, because it goes to show you have 4 or 5 out injured, we're struggling. They're
all the same position as well, Ben. That's the thing. All the people who are injured, they're all the forwards or wingers or someone with that creativity up front who can get a goal. Nat, I just want to hear your thoughts on LJ's performance. I know that you're one of the biggest fans, and as well.
Yeah, I think like Ben, potentially it's match fitness. First game back, because like I said, I put my life on LJ scoring that goal. Yeah. But that's the thing. It's all through LJ, or if it's not LJ, it's Tooney, and it's that pressure on the young kids. But yeah, she looked great. She looked like they couldn't handle it, and I know. Marisha said about experienced players and Katie, but then I've just seen a post up before, like you can't really compare Katie and like Kim Little, and there was points where Kim got it in the middle and just like held it for a bit and passed it off, and we just couldn't get it off her. And I'm seeing that post on there about Hayley. I think she is. Yeah. Because, but I don't know. I don't understand her. Why would you would start her then surely and bring her off? But then I suppose she's been doing that and it's not been working either. So,
well, let me ask Marissa about what your thoughts were regarding the Arsenal starting 11, and then we'll actually discuss Hayley Ladd, because that's a massive impact on social media at the moment. It's a massive criticism of Casey's decision, and we've got a show on Monday about press conferences asking the questions that we need to ask. And if there's one question that if I was in a press conference, if I was allowed to ask it, I would just ask Casey Stoney just one thing: what's going on with Hayley Ladd? Because it's not the first time. But we'll move on to Hayley Ladd in a bit. Marissa, when you saw your starting 11, was you happy with your starting 11? And when you saw United starting 11, was you kind of happy about what you saw there, or what were your thoughts before the game?
Yeah, I was pleased. I was a bit nervous of Volti being in centre back, but then every team's got injuries, so it has to happen. At least it's still an experienced player with a defensive mindset who kind of knows how to do the job. But it's just having those options. I mean, I know you guys talking about your injuries with Arsenal. There's been times when you've had about 4 or 5 of our best players just on the bench watching the match, and you're like, my gosh, imagine what our team would be like if we had them in. So it's all right having, let's say, we could say more experienced or better quality players than Man United, but if they're not on the pitch, then it's still, a bit of a struggle. And what you were saying about the press conferences, the amount of questions fans would ask that journalists never do. We want the answers that the journalists aren't going to ask because they don't want to be banned from the press conferences and things like that. So, we're going to, is so-and-so injured? If not, why is she not playing? Journalist is not going to ask that question in that direct way. It's going to be, well, is there a possibility so-and-so might play the next match? And it's a bit more, gentle.
Nice.
The thing is, though, Hayley Ladd was our player of the season last season. She's our best CDM. What? Yeah, exactly. Just ask the question. If she doesn't answer it, then she doesn't answer it. But at least kind of ask the question, because it's a massive step not to play that quality of player. I understand when we play Aston Villa and some of the lower teams playing more creative attacking players. I completely get it. And Casey's coming under criticism, and I guarantee you, Casey will have an answer for it. But she's just not. But it's all so secretive. And then it's just hard for us to kind of back her up as a manager, isn't it? But Ben, let's bring you on then, mate. The Hayley Ladd situation. What were your thoughts with her not playing?
I think I put a tweet out saying that midfield looks lightweight without Hayley Ladd. I call it straight away before kick-off, mate, because you could get away with playing the way we played and the person we played in midfield against your Birminghams, your Aston Villas and all that, against your big teams, you need that player in there that is. Yeah, she was our player of the season last season, Hayley Ladd, yeah, but she doesn't get, I've said this like a number of times, she doesn't get the plaudits that she deserves because what she does in the game goes very, very unnoticed. You know, she's that player that will get stuck in. She's that player that will snap at people's ankles. And I mean, when I say snap at people's ankles, I don't mean goes in 2-footed, you know, with the intention of snapping. What I mean is that she will, you know, if someone's running past her, she will like, you know that sort of footballing shithousery, you know. She'll snap at someone's ankles. She'll like rake her studs against, you know, just anything to break up that play, you know. And I think we lacked that yesterday. You know, our midfield was getting walked all over at one point, and you had poor old Jackie, who, fair play to her, mate. I thought she did a top job in trying to run back, cover, and defend. But you don't want Jackie to do that. You want Jackie to be further up that field, dictating our player. You know, getting us moving in attacking positions. Threading that final ball through the eye of the needle to our forwards. You know what, Jackie, back in your own box. And was Hayley carrying an injury? I don't know, mate. But Hayley Ladd is one of those players that, forgive me for comparing her to people like a Carlos Tevez, like a Wayne Rooney, someone that will go into challenges, someone that will chase every ball down, someone that will just get in the opposition's faces, you know, and is not scared to throw a body into challenges and throw a body and block the ball, you know, in defensive situations. I just think we look too pedestrian without her, you know. Our midfield just gets bypassed too much without her, you know. You're asking your more creative players then to try and be your more defensive players as well at the same time. Mm-hmm. It's like asking your Bruno Fernandes. You know, Bruno Fernandes will chase back everything, but it's like asking your Bruno Fernandes just to sit and do the Freddie McTominay role, you know, and just you don't want to see him back in your own box. You want to see him near the opposition's box where he can do the most damage, and that's where I think we went wrong a little bit, and I think that hampered our game. Half the time, Jackie Groningen was in our own penalty box and not in the opposition, nowhere near the opposition penalty box. That's not her fault, but obviously she's been asked to do that job. You know, can you do that role? Can you? And as I said, I think she did it perfectly. Don't get me wrong, I think she did it to the best of her ability. But when you don't have that natural defensive midfield player that sits there, breaks up play, gives that easy 5-yard pass. Yesterday, especially second half, we couldn't make a 5-yard pass through periods of the game. You know, we couldn't make that simple 5-yard passes, you know, to link the midfield, to link the attack, to maybe have somebody that puts the foot on the ball, calms it down a little bit, and then looks for that pass. You know, it's just, I don't know. She has to be injured, mate. She has to be carrying a knock or something. Because
it might not even be an injury. It might just be, sorry to cut you off, Ben, but I'm just thinking myself, there's got to be a reason. And for me, it might be fitness more than anything. It might be like some sort of fitness or something, because it's been going on for quite all season, pretty much. Sorry, Ben. Go on, carry on.
Yeah, well, exactly. Well, I said this on Nat will know when I usually go on Wall of Reds on All for United when I say about the men's team, but I might say this about our team now. How we hit that mental wall? How we hit that wall now where we're just all physically and mentally tired? You know. All right, fair enough. We're not playing football 2 days a week like the men, you know what I mean? But it has been pretty much, you know, all right, fair enough, the winter's break, but is the top three, beg your pardon, is the battle for the top 3 taken out of them physically and mentally? Because you got to think, though, as I said earlier on, the players have not been used to being in that situation before, quite a lot of them. Is it playing on their mind? Are they getting physically, mentally drained by, we need top 3, we need top 3, we need top 3. Is it playing on their minds? You know, because sometimes when you have something on your mind, and you're thinking, am I playing for my career? Some of them might be playing for their career. Is that playing on their mind as well? Because it doesn't look like the United. All right, I know injuries have knocked us back as well, but we've still got enough quality there for me to do a little bit better than what we have been doing. You know, our players getting a little bit overplayed as well, because you look at the injuries, and we all know it's a certain positions that seem to be getting injured. Are we overtraining them? Are we over preparing them before a match? Are we not letting them get enough rest as well in between? Everybody's bodies are different. You know what I mean? And sometimes, if you're playing and you're training too much, or you're overloading in your training to perhaps get to the levels that we need to be at, maybe we're overloading the training regime a little bit, and are we then just physically and mentally tiring our players out, and they're picking up knocks through physical exhaustion? I don't know, mate. It's very baffling. It's very, very baffling, to be fair. But then we've had the same problem with the men's over the years as well. Is it a Manchester United way? Are we training? Is it a certain Manchester United way that we're training?
Yeah. I'd love to know, though, Marissa's point. You said Arsenal get a lot of injuries, and I know it's sort of a thing that's been happening. There was a running joke, injury FC Derby, and I've been tweeting it, and I saw some journalists picking up on it, and then everyone's just laughing, and it's not like they're laughing at us, but it was that injury FC Derby. That's what they were calling it. I think you probably got more injuries than us now. I don't even know where we're up to, but what is it for Arsenal? Why are Arsenal getting it? Is it a thing in women's football? What do you think?
I don't even know. It's just been a thing. Like, even when we won the league, there were still a lot of injuries, and there'd be times you're like, okay, well, we've just got enough players to carry us through a game. But like Nobbs was injured for so long, Kim Little. It was just like every week we'd have a new injury of some kind. And it's just so frustrating. It's like you've got a whole load of quality players out injured. But why? There has to be a reason why we're getting so many injuries. And I think it happens a lot of our men's team as well. Like you see, a player's going to be out for 3 weeks, and the next thing is 3 months. You're like, well, what is the injury? How does this keep happening? And again, as we're saying about asking these questions in press conferences, you're not getting questions asked. So thinking, but how can we keep getting so many injuries? You've got a big squad, but even so, you're going to have to draft in younger players, less experienced players, and obviously, as we all know, top 3 is what everyone's going for. So it's absolutely crucial. Like what Nat was saying about you relying on James and Toon for the goals. At least we've got midfielders that score goals. So like Nobbs, when fully fit, Van der Donk, that just takes the pressure off Miedemar or Ford or Rord, gives you an extra dimension. I think that's the sort of thing Man United need to push on, even a few goals from defence, just to have more goals around the team in general. So you're not relying on one player. You look at Man City, they've got Kelly, they've got Weir, they've got White. There's a whole load of players that can score goals. I think Man United is still too reliant on a few players. Heath is out, we know, huge miss. Press sometimes needs to be a bit more clinical. James is just coming back from injury. So both teams have a lot of injuries, and you just think there's got to be something to that, because Chelsea, their team, rarely do you see as many players out injured. They've got top quality squad from top to bottom, and managed to keep majority of those players fit. Man City as well. I don't know what it is about Arsenal, Man United, but we seem to pick up those injuries, and they're long-term injuries, which obviously is hugely frustrating for both teams.
Nat, I'll let you just finish on Harry Ladd shortly. I just want to quickly answer that question. I don't know if it's physically not up there. I just think that might be being pushed too much like what Ben said. Because if you have a look how much we run around when we do the high press, I think that we are very fit. I think we are a very fit team. I think we come out of lockdown at the start of the season fitter than most teams. I think we caught Chelsea off guard in that opening game. And I do think that we're a fit team. I just think that we're probably pushing it too much. That's from an outsider looking in who doesn't know the training schedule or anything like that. But I think that it's probably just being pushed a little bit too much, or maybe wear them training or something like that. But I do think we are a very fit team. I just think that it is really affecting us. But Natalie, your final words regarding Harry Ladd?
Yeah. I agree with you about fit team. Apparently they do 2 double days, one on Tuesday, one on Friday. I'm not sure if other teams do that, but maybe that might be it. I think that when we come back from the break, so I know that the Arsenal manager actually said the consistency in games haven't helped. So maybe we've come back from the break and that's not helped. we never come back well from the break. But in terms of Ladinator, Hayley Ladd, I don't know what it is. I think, yeah, it must be that she's injured, because you would not go without her in a game like that. And I just want to touch on as well, I mean, I think Katie has played well, but a game like that, it wasn't for Katie, and she didn't, they sort of bullied her really, and I'm seeing people saying they bullied. But another one, Hansen, why she didn't play, it blows my mind, because, you might want to start with, the lineup that you started with, and, Tooney, but I thought after a point, Tooney's been playing every game, and she's gone from 10 to right wing to left wing to this. Hansen was perfect for that, I think, at a point. Whether it's bringing press off, or when LJ came off and have Jess press and Hansen, or I just think there was moments and there was players that should have played that didn't play, and that's why people are questioning it now. And I hope that the next press conference, building up into the West Ham game, they do ask this question and do say, listen, straight to the point. Who's injured? We know there's something up with Hayley. We know there's something up with Hansen. We're not just taking the list that you give us, kind of thing. And I think in the men's game, you would see it. You wouldn't have people. They would ask that more directly. So I don't know if it's something like you say about the women's game, but they need to ask, well, why is Hayley Ladd not playing then? I just think that's a genuine question. It's an honest question. It's not sort of trying to catch anyone out or this and that. But yeah, I bet there are some people that are worried about, I won't get back into this press conference. But it shouldn't be like that. It should be, you're the media, there's the press pass, that you have to put a conference on, and I think it's from the above, from the people running the league, you have to put it on. Journalists are allowed to ask questions, We can't just sort of make every question suit the media teams. Otherwise, it'd just be all, club media, and we don't want that. We want honest, open questions. And for me, I think, shows like this, talking about why is Ladd not playing, and people then talking about it, you will then see the question asked, because I know that, a lot of journalists, we have them on these shows, they look at what we're tweeting, they want to, write articles because they want us to read it. So anyone who asks that is going to get the clicks on their articles. So for me, I think that's the next question is, what's going on with Ladd? What's going on with Hansen? It's not right what's going on, because she kept coming off, didn't she? And now, we're not seeing her start a game like this, one of our biggest games. It's crazy for me.
Yeah, I just have to agree with everything you said. And regarding Hansen, I do think that Arsenal defence was there to be got at, and I think Hansen would have really driven at them. And LJ and Jess the same. But yeah, it is what it is. But I'd like just to hear Marissa's thoughts on the goals themselves. Are they like typical Arsenal goals? Because we had Lee Birch on the show last week. For anybody who doesn't know who Lee is, Lee's a former manager of Yeovil, Millwall, and London Bees, and he actually tagged us in a tweet when Arsenal scored their first goal, and basically says to us, "Told you," because he kind of basically said how Arsenal was going to score, and he was right in what he said. Marissa, your thoughts on those two goals? Are they similar to what you've been kind of scoring all season?
Yeah, I mean, the sort of goal, if it had been, I think it was Rod's goal, them sort of team goals, okay, deflected off Millie Turner, but like to be in the box, clever trickery, sort of confuse the opposition, and someone sticks a leg out and scores it, and it all comes together very well, the Arsenal way, you might say, when everyone's passing, there's a lot of quick movements involved, bang, goal, back of the net, no messing around. Headers, we do get a few here and there, usually like Jen Beattie, would say, will be up there. So there are a few headers, but mainly on the ground, quick bit of skill, back of the net. So there were two good goals. I think there was, Wubamoy free header. Where's the mark in there? But we've already discussed with set pieces that it's just not quite up to it. That's something, if you're going to give them away, you've got to be able to stop them going in the back of the net. You've got strong defenders who, as you said, earlier on in the season, clear that no problem. So I don't know what's happened there, where there's a lack of confidence, but it just seemed like it was there for her to head in. She did go. And we didn't get that many chances in the match. I think Mary Earps played a loose ball and Miedemar managed to latch onto it, and that probably could have been 3-0. But on the whole, we took the two best chances we had and scored them. And Man United did have chances, cause a little bit of panic in our box, but not enough, to get a goal and really make us panic when it counted, especially when we were down to 10 players for half an hour. Man United should have been going hell for leather, because really after that, the game was over, which it shouldn't. You should have still had enough quality to make something happen. I was a bit surprised Lauren James went off when she did. I thought, as Ben said earlier, extra 10 minutes maybe, see if she can tire out the defence a bit. Vaulty, she's not naturally a defender. Maybe get her one-on-one, get her to make a mistake and see what happens. So the chances were there for Man United. I think they could have, given our defence something to worry about. In the end, it was more comfortable than it could have been if you're more clinical, I would say.
Your player of the match, Marissa?
Between Walty and Wubben-Moy, I'll go Wubben-Moy because she scored the goal, but Walty being in an unnatural position and doing so well, it's definitely one of those two W's at the back. I think it was solid performance from them. Kept a clean sheet. What more can you ask for? They did their jobs, made sure Man United didn't score. You've got dangerous players, so to keep everyone quiet for 90 minutes, I think, yes, I'll go Wubben-Moy, but Walty, honourable mention for playing well in that unfamiliar role.
Ben, you can choose an Arsenal player if you like, but who impressed you the most in that game, whether it be for United or you can choose an Arsenal player if you want, but who kind of impressed you the most regarding Man United?
Ona, mate. Ona once again, mate. I think she was the only one in our team that from the first whistle to the final whistle battled. And I mean proper battled. She never gave up, man. And I think Jackie was honourable mention for me as well, because I think ask her to do a job that she's probably not so much used to, as in tracking back and, defending in her own box, but definitely Ona for us. So I couldn't give an Arsenal one. It won't sit right with me, unfortunately. But, Ona.
Natalie, yourself?
Probably Honor again. Honor, Ona, LJ, Jackie, those players. I thought Staniforth, she had a really good game versus Villa, and obviously Villa and Arsenal's a step up, but I still think she looked good, threading some balls through. But yeah, I mean, everyone's saying Honor and LJ, yeah. It just wasn't good enough, though, I suppose, as a whole, even though, Honor, that she wasn't really, Beth Mead was against her, but she had a, but she's done her job the way I look at it, but everyone else sort of around her in the defence probably wasn't good enough, and there was a mistake over the other side that let them score that first goal, and then, a free header. It's all us undoing everything, I'm sure they don't do that in training, so why is it happening on match day? And, this is time for Casey to make her money now, isn't it? And then we're going to go on to the next thing, but it's out of our hands, it's in Arsenal's hands, and all we can do is win our games. But it's games like that. I know she talks about the Reading, but that's where you make your money. Those are big games, and that's what you've got to shore up this defence now to make sure that no one else scores and bang in the goals and be clinical.
Yeah, can't argue with that. Absolutely, yeah. I thought LJ in that first half, I would go for LJ, even though I know she only played, 50, 60 minutes or so. So I'm going to say LJ just because she really impressed me in that first half. She at least got a bit of hope there for me. But I will never, across the whole match, it probably should be from a Man United point of view. We're going to move on. We're going to move on to what Casey said after the game. It surprised me a little bit. I mean, I wouldn't say she was rattled, but she was definitely het up. It's not very often that we hear Casey, even though she put it across very professional, is it professional to say what she said about the referees? Now, I think if you've got something to say, if you're going to say it in private, you should be able to say it in public. And she did say it in public, but we know that Carla Ward obviously got fined for what she said about the referees. Casey Stoney could potentially get fined as well because she wasn't pulling any punches. I guess, first of all, for myself, I think you have to kind of respect that she's open enough to do that. We know that the reason why we lost that game isn't because of the referees. I think maybe she's just there either protecting the players or playing it a bit tactical from her own point of view, maybe deflecting situations, maybe. That could be the case. I think she was right in what she was saying, but it's certainly not the reason why we lost the game. And she said herself that she's not saying it because we lost the game because of that. She did say that we were sloppy. Natalie, I know you mentioned a few tweets. I mean, what were your thoughts when you heard that comment?
It's time and a place. Listen, I'm all for one saying that the refs are rubbish. Everyone knows that the refs are rubbish, but I just felt she didn't need to say it then. I know I sort of talked about it in the show, but you had a player sent off. You didn't, the ref, first half wasn't good and apparently ended up, I mean, she said what the ref said, that it's not just the same player. And I get where she's coming from, but for me, it was just deflecting, trying to protect the players. I didn't like it, let's say. No. I mean, after that Reading game when Katie Zellum headed the ball and they gave it a penalty, boom, go in then. But for me, I think a game like that, we've just seen it. I think it wasn't a time for it to say it then. But I suppose, like you say, I agree with what you're saying, protecting the players.
It must have been on her mind that. I mean, yeah, you could argue. I mean, Jose Mourinho's done it loads of times on the men's game where he plays mind games. He tries to distract attention here, there, and everywhere to take the blame and stuff, But I can't see.
That was so poor, John. That was so poor. You can't distract attention from that, in my opinion. When Josie there's been times when people have done it and you've just lost by one goal. Yeah, you can say this and that, and if there was that offside goal, if that was actually onside, and then I would be like, yeah, okay, because we could have come back into it. But you were so poor, and it's the same things we've been seeing. It's not like this clinical thing is not new. Yeah. She always says fine margins. It's a fine margins, and that's what it was. You had the 3 massive chances, and I know she doesn't like to say her players, but you had 3 massive chances. You just can't not score one of them and then turn around and go, oh, the ref this. And then I saw her at halftime criticising the ref, and I think the fact that she went and criticised the ref at halftime, you saw Zellum shouting at the ref, got Beth Mead that first yellow card. I mean, the second one was a yellow anyway. Yeah, but 100%. That pressure got her sent her off anyway. So you did your job with the ref. Forget about the ref. Oh, it annoys me. It annoys me just because I just think, we actually looked after quite well. There was a couple of times in the second half, and Thingy was lucky not to get a yellow. What's her face? Martha was lucky not to get a yellow. So we were looked after in a way. The ref was shit. The refs are always shit, but we were looked after by that ref. So why are you trying to make enemy with a good ref who looked after us? I just she's done it and all this, but it's so clear. I can see it from, you know what I'm saying? I can see it, what you're trying to do, and it's just in the end, like embarrassed, like, no, mate, that's not the one. But then she did the MUTV one, the one that they put on Twitter, that was a lot better. That was boom, straight to the point. We need to sort out our defence. And I've seen people saying, and I know I'm going on, I'm going to let someone else speak in a minute, but Maria Torres Doherty, why she come in if you're not going to play her? I know we've talked about playing, but that's the thing. And if you need to change up, and she said she's going to change it up, so that questions about who's going to play at Old Trafford. A lot of them players I can't see playing at Old Trafford, whether they come on or whatever. But there needs to be some kind of consequence, to that performance.
We'll talk about that next game shortly. But Marissa, just answer that question on screen. I mean, the 2 yellows, and also just referees in general. Like, what's the Arsenal as an Arsenal fan, and you obviously probably speak to other Arsenal fans. What's your kind of perception on refs in the WSL? But obviously, answer that question first.
Yeah, that question. The first one wasn't a yellow card. I mean, she just tripped her. It happens. These things happen. You can't say that's a yellow card for crying out loud. It's a contact sport. I think Casey Stoney getting in the ref's ear at halftime is obviously gonna, it has an impact, whether you want to admit it or whether the ref would want to admit it or not. It definitely made a difference, and that was what that Beth Mead first yellow card for. The second one was a yellow card, so you can't argue with that. You don't make that sort of challenge when you're on a yellow card. You've got to have some common sense and just be like, all right, I'm not going to go flying into that. First one, there was nothing there to give a yellow card. If you look at the two challenges, you're going to say the first one's not a yellow card, the second one is. And you go flying in like that when you're on a yellow card, you leave the ref no decision. You know, Beth Mead knows. We all know as soon as she makes that challenge, she's getting sent off. But refs in general in the Women's Super League, I've had no confidence since I was at Kingsmeadow 2018 when we were 5-0 up against Chelsea. Drew Spence broke Kim Little's leg, like went through her for no reason. They were 5-0 down. Kim Little was off, broken leg, not even a yellow card. It should have been a red card, but not even a yellow. Since then, I thought, no, these refs just don't protect the players. You see, yellow cards in men's football for what you'd consider maybe even small fouls. I see a lot of fouls in WSL that I think, well, that should be a yellow. It's very rare you'll see maybe even 3 players in a game getting a yellow card. Well, there's been enough tackles in that game for there to be that amount of yellow cards. And I think there was a game, a Brighton player, she got a yellow card and then the ref didn't give her a second yellow and send her off. And you're like, were you watching the game? Come on, that is literally what you're there for. If you can't give a player a second yellow when you're supposed to, like she forgot she booked her. We can't say, oh, this is the best women's league in the world, fully professional, and then have refs that are unprofessional. You've got to do the whole thing at once. I think that's a case of like running before you can walk. If you've got a team, players, squad, whatnot, that is fully professional, proper, good league, and then refs that are not at the same standard, because it's going to lead to injuries. Like, okay, Lauren James didn't get injured yesterday, but one of them challenges, if the ref doesn't intervene, she could have got injured. And we're talking about injury FC. Both of us do not need any extra injuries, that the ref could be preventing from happening. So I think the refs on the whole need to be a lot stronger in the Women's Super League if you want to protect the players and make sure that we can still see these quality players on a weekly basis. Sorry.
Yeah, that's what Casey Stein was referring to, the fact that if the amount of fouls on LJ, but if LJ had reacted, then she would have got a booking.
Exactly.
And also, I think
she's getting booked for being fouled, which is not her fault. She can't do anything about that. And I do think Casey was right with her comments after the match. I know, obviously, it sounds like sour grapes when you've lost, but what she's saying is true. The ref was atrocious. And I definitely think she'll get fined for that, because you can't say anything bad against the ref. And, Joe Montemurro came and said, oh, I've learned very early on in my career not to say anything about the ref. He had thoughts. He didn't say them. I preferred Casey Stoney's interview from, the winning team, but she said it like it is. And I think she's right to say that, but she will be fined for that, because you're just not allowed to say that sort of thing, even if it's true.
Yeah, and I think if you're free, Marissa, at the end of the season, I think it'll be great just to get a couple of fans on here from different clubs and just talk about the referees in a bit more detail, because it's not just United supporters. I mean, we do 2 shows a week on YouTube and a couple more live on Twitter as well, and we do mention the referees quite a lot. And I don't want it to come across that United fans about the referees again, because it's not just United fans, it's WSL fans. We read it all the time. We'll move on, because I can see.
Oh, Jonathan. Yeah. On the referees, mate. It's about time managers had the balls to say something about the referees, and I'm glad it's 2 of the most well-spoken managers in the league, in Carla Ward and Casey Stone, that are saying stuff about the referees. Because you heard the FA, they're not interested. They're just not in the next 3 years business about trying to improve referees. That's shocking. We said it on a show not so long ago, and I called the FA out for it. It's shocking. You're trying to market the WSL as a fully professional league, as one of the best leagues in Europe and the world, and you're not putting the resources in to try and improve or get better referees. I think it's about time that your more outspoken managers that don't care about fines come out and say something. Carla Ward and Casey Stoney are 2 of the managers that will stand up there and say things in front of cameras, that will say things in front of the press. I agree with what Nat said. It's a time and a place, man. Yesterday, we couldn't really blame the referee. The referee, although it was shocking yesterday, was a little bit kind to us, as I agree with what Nat's saying. But on the whole, though, we saw at half-time, she was case was in at the referees. That's something Sir Alex Ferguson would have done.
Mm-hmm.
You don't stand for absolute crap on the football pitch when it comes to officiating. You know, you want that official to be as fair as possible. You know what I mean? And to be at the listen, you want to market this game to people like I've said it before, like BT Sport, like Sky Sports, like the BBC. And what was it? It was on an American network yesterday, wasn't it? Or was it CBS or something?
Yes, CBS.
Like you're marketing round the world. You've got American television showing this game. What they think of the standard of the refereeing, by the way.
Yeah.
They might be laughing at our appalling standard of the refereeing, you know. Like, what the hell's the referee doing?
It doesn't match up. You've got quality players and poor referees. They need to be at the same level in order to keep the game growing. How can the game grow if one's up the top here and one's down the bottom there?
That's what we say pretty much every week. Go on, Natalie.
What I do love is that it is that Fergie thing. That's exactly what Fergie would have done, and that's what she did. And now I see it in the players. I mean, we used to shout at the refs when we were in the stands. We would be shouting, "Everything's a yellow card, everything's a foul." I was shouting from the telly, "Yellow card, where's the card, ref?" And you know, it's something that we've done as fans, been in the ground shouting at the refs, and I saw it. You know, our players are now shouting at the ref, "Is that not a card? Is that not a card?" And then obviously that second one, about 2 or 3 ran up to her and said, "What's going on?" And I love it. I know that's, you know, this and that, players shouldn't do that, but I do love that competitiveness has come. It's a lot more competitive, and it's a lot more. We never used to see our players do that, you know, but you can tell that they're proper up for it, and they're like, "Come on, where's the card? Get her carded." And then Arsenal players started doing it, going, "What about that one?" You know, and it's just, I know, you know, it's not in the sporting and all this stuff, but it just shows how much that game means, that the players are shouting, they're asking for everything, and you know, that's what I love to see about this game. That's what I'm you know, it's showing it's growing, it matters so much, and you know, the players are just pushing for everything, like the fans in a way, and managers are complaining since 2014, but they're not gonna let the ref get away with it in a way now. And like you say, Wardy speak out, Casey speak out. There'll be times where Emma Hayes will speak out, Joe will probably speak out again on something, you know. More managers are speaking up about it, players are speaking up on the pitch, and during interviews. It's going to have to change quicker than 3 years, I'll tell you that for sure. Nothing.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. We're going to extend the show for another 5-10 minutes, and this is one of the first shows where I can't keep up with the live comments. There's just so many popping through, so thank you for everybody for joining in the comments. I can't put them all on screen. I just want to talk a little bit about our next game, which is against West Ham at Old Trafford. We'll then just finish the show with Marissa talking about whether or not Arsenal can just basically carry on there, because if you win all your games, you're through. So it doesn't matter what we talk about or what we do. It's all in Marissa's and Arsenal's hands now. So we'll finish the show with that one. But Ben, yourself. So we play West Ham at Old Trafford. Just what are your thoughts on the fact that we're playing at Old Trafford, and what do you expect to see in that game?
I know it sort of split people down the middle while we're playing now at Old Trafford without fans, but I think if you look at it from the club's point of view, though, it's a men's international break now. The pitch is free, and I think it'd be a great experience for them to play at Old Trafford, because many of them have played at Old Trafford before. You know, I get it. It's a shame that we can't be there, because I think if you could have been there and take all of COVID away and all that rubbish, I think you would have actually sold quite a lot of tickets for this game, because it would have been in the back of their minds for weeks and weeks and weeks. And had it been under any other year, any normal year, you know, I think we'd have sold quite a few tickets for this one, especially with the team where we are. You know, we're still third in the league. You know, at this moment in time, we're still there thereabouts. You know, I think we'd have attracted the crowd. But the one thing is now, it's going to get them a little bit of a taster when we do play at Old Trafford, whatever that may be, in front of fans. Because the one thing that's going to shock them is the pitch, because that pitch is humongous compared to the LSV pitch. That pitch is bigger; it's a lot wider. You know, that pitch is going to be zippier. It's going to be, but what? Who doesn't want to play at Old Trafford? No, even without the fans, who does not want to play at the Theatre of Dreams? You're following legendary players playing on that turf. Yes, Old Trafford it's changed over the years. It's been remodernised and everything. But that's still the same Old Trafford. That's still the same stadium that stood over 112 years or whatever it is now. You're following the likes of Best Law, Charlton, Cantona, Beckham, Keane, Giggs, Scholes, Van Nistelrooy, Rooney. The list goes on and on and on. You know, and if you can't get up for a game at Old Trafford, you don't belong playing at Manchester United. You know what I mean? This for me could present a chance for them just to wipe the slate clean, and just from the game at Old Trafford until the end of the season, clean slate, we go for it. We just win all our games, or at least get as many points as we can on that board. Because remember, well, with 3 points out of Arsenal at the minute, I know they've got a game in hand, but they've still got to win that game in hand yet. Yes, they've got a superior goal difference. But who's to say Arsenal won't slip up? They've not been at their best this season either. You know, we've got to just keep on going. You know, yes, it was a hammer blow, lose to Arsenal, you know, yesterday or last night, whatever you want to call it. It was a hammer blow. However, it's not the end of the world. We've got to win all our games. And football's a funny old game. Arsenal just slip up once, we're back in the driving seat, you know. So, you know, it's a huge it's going to be a huge experience for these players, and I hope they cherish every moment of playing on that turf, because me and Nat, and yourself, John, we'd chop a limb off just to play on that hallowed pitch, you know. I just go for it. Go and enjoy yourselves. Go and enjoy your football. Forget what's gone before. That's all gone now. Let's go out there, get the 3 points, and let's have a strong end to the season.
Yeah, go on, Nat. I mean, you mentioned earlier that there might be a few changes in this game, so if you want to maybe elaborate on that a little bit, and also what your thoughts of playing at Old Trafford.
100%. I think Maria has to start. I think, for me, I'd have Hansen in again. Hansen over Tooney on the wing. I'd actually have wingers. I would actually have Press potentially on the wing. I know for me, she did play in the wing versus Arsenal, but it's a very narrow pitch, whereas this is going to be a massive, like what Ben says, she's going to have space where she can run in behind. So I would actually play Press on the wing for that one. Whether LJ, you know, hopefully is fit enough, play her down the 9, you know, bring Jess on. I think, you know, Casey sort of said before that this is a game, we're not thinking about Old Trafford now, we're thinking about this game, and some of the performances weren't up to scratch, so some people are should be losing their place, and it gives a chance to other players to come in. Obviously, playing at Old Trafford, I think, like Ben, it'll be good in that it lets them get used to it, because I think definitely next year, whether it's the derby or if we get Liverpool or some big game like that or whatever, you know, Chelsea, I think that'll be it might even be the first game back. You know what I'm saying? The first game with fan ban, put it at Old Trafford. And I think if we're used to that pitch, it's just a better benefit for us rather than having that first game with fans, pressure on, you know, and then you never played there before. At least like this, they'll be used to it. They're used to surroundings. I mean, a lot of them go and watch the men's anyway, so they'll be in and around it, and they know what to expect when they come and play it. So, you know, the statement did say there'll be many more opportunities, and there'll be many more when they want fans in. And like Ben said, I think it is disappointing. It would have been full. Seeing John Fry saying 50k, I can see things like that. But yeah, I think let's just keep winning. Win this game, you know, at Old Trafford. Yeah, there's not fans in the stadium, but it's going to be a lot more eyes on it than if it was at LSV. So I think she needs to change it up. She says she's going to change it up. It's just like going out 5 cup finals now, keep winning, and, you know, anything can happen. But yeah, it's out of our hands now, so it feels a bit gutting.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I feel the same way as you, and everything that you just mentioned there, Nat, I kind of agree with. I think this is a good practice to play at Old Trafford when there are no fans. I think it's a clever move at the start. I did wonder a bit why it's happening, but I do understand that maybe it's just a bit of a practice for for when that happens. And it would be great to see the girls at Old Trafford at one point. And I do think we can get 50,000 in there if we got 30,000 at Etihad when we hardly promoted it. And imagine Man United, Man City first game of the season next season, it wouldn't surprise me one bit if that was fixed to happen, and that wouldn't surprise me at all. Regarding the starting lineup, I think there'll be changes. Everyone knows I love Tooney, and I'd still keep Tooney in the team, but not out wide. Why not play Hansen in that position now? Press. Press can play out wide. LJ or Jess, either one, I'll be happy there. If Miller needs a break, then he can't play brilliant every game. Sometimes you are maybe out of form, and maybe we have brought Maria in for a reason, and she's not just a championship level player. Don't forget, she is top quality. So maybe it is the type of game where we can play her. However, what's Millie's mindset going to be? The one time that we play at Old Trafford and we don't play her. Sometimes you got to think about that as a manager as well. I know Natalie, you're shaking your head there, thinking, "Who cares?" You got to play your best players, haven't you? All the players who are in form, but maybe I'm just a little bit too sentimental sometimes in that. But let's end the show with Marissa then. Look, it's all down to Arsenal now. If you win your next 5 games, you make Champions League. I think a couple of 3 weeks ago, a month ago, you're definitely underdogs. You've done really well to get yourself into this position, and you've earned it. I haven't got the fixtures in front of me, but what are your thoughts, Marissa? Can you go on now and win these 5 games?
Yeah, I've got them. Next one is Spurs at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. We've done that before. I was there and we beat them 2-0. So every time we've played them, we beat them. So, I'd hope for the same again. Then Bristol City, again, I'd expect to win, but Ebony Salmon is a dangerous one. If she's fit and firing, you never know. There's every chance. And Brighton would be the one I'd say I'd be most cautious about, because obviously they ended Chelsea's unbeaten run. They could be stubborn even if we get a draw and you win some matches that we don't win. Every point counts, goal difference, all that sort of thing. So Brighton would be the one of the 5 I'd say potentially there's room for slip up there. Then we've got Everton. Again, could beat us. Could be a draw. That one again is a chance for.
They'll probably let you win, so we don't get Champions League.
It's the penultimate game. Again, we keep talking about the injuries. You don't know what state the squad's going to be in. So again, there could be a chance. And then last game, Aston Villa, I totally expect us to win that. So I think only a game against Brighton, I really believe we could drop points. So it's got to be up to Man United to win all their 5, put Arsenal under pressure. At the end of the day, we've got a game in hand against you, but anything can happen. You've got the points on the board. We've still got to chase a little bit. Okay, it's less because we beat you, but there's still a chance that we might slip up. So it is going to be, a fight to the death, really, to see who's got the nerve, who can hold on. Might be a few 1-0s here and there, and not like pretty football where we're winning 8-0. But if you get the 3 points with 1 goal, maybe 2, be clinical like we're talking about Man United we're struggling with. If Arsenal can do that, then I think, I'm going to say we'll get top 3. I'm going to say we'll pip you to the post and get top 3. I've got to be confident in the team.
I think reading them fixtures out, so I will be confident as well, to be honest. Look, in the comments, you've been fantastic tonight. Thank you very much for all the comments. It's been brilliant. It's nice to see you all chatting with each other as well. Just put a yes or a no in the comments. Do you think Arsenal's going to drop points in the next 5 games? Just put a yes or a no in the comments just to finish the show. In the meantime, regarding the rest of the week on this channel, you can actually watch Ben in 2 minutes' time, 5 minutes' time on our Twitter page. He's going live with Matt. So he'll be on our AFUWFC Twitter account. If you don't follow that, please do. We do quite a few Twitter lives on there when we haven't got access to the YouTube. So please follow and watch Matt and Ben shortly. We've also got a show on Monday with Jack and potentially Stuart as well regarding press conferences, which is going to be quite interesting, and other things as well, but about asking the right questions. And we've got a show on Thursday this week as well with probably Rodney and one other. So we've got quite a few things to look forward to there. Natalie, do you want to shout out your socials or anything else you want to you want to say?
Yeah, Natalie_17. Check me out on Insta as well, Naughty Natty B, and I've got my own YouTube channel as well, guys. So it's Naughty Natty TV, and there's going to be a few videos coming out soon on that. So just follow me definitely on my socials, my Twitter and my Instagram, and you'll see some videos, and they're really good. It's about football, but just more the broader sense and identifying and mental health and race, things like that. Just broad topics, not all about Man United, but I think it's topics that affect us all, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Brilliant show tonight. Ben, your socials, please.
Yeah, mainly on Twitter, mate. Benny MUFC. I couldn't even say it then. Benny MUFC. It's on the screen. Benjamin Brazil on Instagram. I've got my own YouTube channel. I've started chucking a couple more videos upon that after going about a month without doing anything, which you've probably seen in the comments because it comes up. Fathers, Sons, and United. If you can just go and check some of the videos out there, and I promise I will do some more. I've been a bit of a lazy bugger over lockdown. I've not been doing too many, but I promise I'll get some more content out for you there. That's about it, really.
Thank you. You can follow me on Twitter and YouTube, John Foster MUFC. Marissa, if anybody wants to have an Arsenal fan on their Twitter, where can people find you?
Yep, it's on there, Marissa Thomas 96. So follow me for Arsenal, men, women, general football. Thanks for all the Man United fans. Nice comments. Everyone's been kind. I can't say best of luck for the rest of the season because obviously we're going for one less position, 2 teams, 1 position. But I hope you don't get any more injuries. That's as kind as I can be.
So do we. Marissa, thank you very much for coming on the show. It's been great. We'd love to have
No
you
worries.
again. Maybe we can arrange something. It's been brilliant. Thank you. And it's just
Definitely.
a shame that
It's been a pleasure.
every 15 minutes gone and we could talk forever, couldn't we? We've cut things down, and I know that Ben's got a show now, so we're gonna have to go. If anybody wants to watch me at 10 o'clock, I'm talking about the men's team on this channel. I don't know what the show's called, something uncut, Man United Uncut.
It's a good laugh though, that one. Last week. It was a good laugh, that show. It was last week.
Well, I started drinking anyway. I'm drinking a bit of wine. I'll be honest, I'm at 10 o'clock. So if you follow the men's team, watch me at 10 o'clock on this channel. I'll be back. Thank you very much. Thank you, Marissa, Natalie, Ben, everybody in the comments. And we'll see you on Monday. Thank you very much, guys.
Bye.